Hello and welcome to this week's news bulletin from the Christian Institute. Christian hotel owners Peter and Hazelmary Bull have been at the Supreme Court this week in an attempt to overturn a ruling which said they had discriminated against two men in a civil partnership by refusing them a double room. In 2011, a judge at Bristol County Court ruled the Bulls had acted unlawfully and ordered them to pay £3,600 in damages to Stephen Preddy and Martin Hall. The Bulls' policy of only allowing married couples to share a double room has been in place since the business opened and applies equally to heterosexual and homosexual couples. Aidan O'Neill QC, who was representing the Bulls at this week's Supreme Court hearing, said their decision to refuse the room was founded on a religiously informed judgment of conscience. They believe the Bible to be God's word, which reveals God's perfect standards, adding, "They take this responsibility very seriously." 5 judges were in court to hear the legal argument, and it's hoped they will consider a more balanced application of equality and human rights law. Earlier in the week, and ahead of their appeal hearing, Peter and Hazelmary Bull were invited to appear on ITV's Daybreak, but faced hostile questioning from presenter Lorraine Kelly. Many viewers took to Facebook and Twitter to complain about the way the interview was handled. But Hazelmary was given the chance to explain what she and her husband were hoping to achieve at the Supreme Court.
The reason we've continued with this is because we feel there are arguments still to be made, because we're hoping that some way or another a pathway will be found through this so that two different lifestyles, which at the moment have had a head-on collision, two different lifestyles could live together in our society.
The court's judgment is expected towards Christmas. Abortions on grounds of gender can be legal, the Director of Public Prosecutions has suggested. Keir Starmer QC says the law does not expressly prohibit gender-specific abortions, but stops them being carried out without two doctors having formed a view in good faith that the health risks, mental or physical, of continuance outweigh those of termination. This gives a wide discretion to doctors in assessing the health risks of a pregnant patient. The comments come after the Crown Prosecution Service decided not to charge 2 doctors who approved gender-specific abortions during an undercover investigation by the Daily Telegraph. MP David Burrows is critical of the decision, commenting that the failure to prosecute undermines the UK's argument on the world stage. He questioned how we are able to tell China and India that it is wrong to abort baby girls, but the CPS has concluded that it is legal to do it here. More than half of England's schools are failing pupils in religious education, according to schools watchdog Ofsted. In its report called Religious Education Realising the Potential, Ofsted accuses schools and the government of failing to focus effectively on the subject. It also reveals that 60% of primary schools visited were found to have below standard achievements in teaching in the subject. A number of factors were identified, including poor and fragmented curriculum planning, subject isolation, weaknesses in teachers' understanding of the subject, and limited access to effective training for teachers. Ofsted Director Michael Claddingbowl remarked that whilst many children understood Jesus is a key figure in religion, they could not say why. The Christian Institute's director, Colin Hart, explained the main problem with the current situation. He said, undoubtedly inadequate time is given to RE, but huge problems are created by trying to teach too many faiths too soon. For many pupils, RE has become a multi-faith mishmash. With this approach, it is no surprise that Ofsted has found that pupils couldn't say why Jesus was a key figure in Christianity. The Scout Association has announced that it is to introduce an alternative atheist pledge for next year. The movement, originally founded on Christian principles by Lord Baden-Powell, will see children given the option of either promising to uphold our Scout values or do my duty to God. The new wording comes following a 10-month consultation process by the association. But the National Secular Society says the alternative promise does not go far enough. NSS President Terry Sanderson says the Scouts should have followed the superior example set by the Guides, who dropped God from their oath altogether earlier this year. Singer Annie Lennox says some pop videos have become highly styled pornography with musical accompaniment and should be subject to an age rating system. She's the latest in a line of prominent celebrities to take issue with what she describes as a tidal wave of sexualised imagery facing impressionable young girls. Speaking to the BBC, Annie Lennox said this debate is about getting the voice of reason back there to say, look, we want to protect our kids. She added that if a performer has an audience of impressionable young fans and they want to present a soft porn video or highly sexualised live performance, then it needs to qualify as such and be X-rated for adults only. Magistrates are to consider a proposal that the taking of oaths on the Bible in courtrooms should be scrapped because many people giving evidence no longer take it seriously. Bristol magistrate Ian Abrahams, who proposed the change, said, "I'm suggesting we take holy books out of the process. Instead, people will have to show they understand they could be sent to prison if they don't tell the truth." But critics of the idea say non-believers already have the option of alternative promises if they don't want to swear on the Bible, and that taking the Bible out of the courtroom would be a further erosion of Britain's Christian heritage. Bishop Nazir Ali says the Bible is bound up with the Constitution, institutions and history of this country. And Reverend Arun Arora from the Church of England commented that the idea seems driven more by blinkered campaigning agendas than abiding interests in justice and truth. The Magistrates Association is set to debate the suggestion at a meeting later this month. Well, that's all for this week. For more information and regular updates on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.